Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm really glad you're here today with us. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge something really important. The fact that you chose to be here today tells me you care deeply about how you lead, how you show up, and how sustainable your leadership really is. And given the fact that there's so much crazy in the world, if you wake up and listen to the news that I do, it's depressing. So I want to set the tone to say that this space here that we have right now is a reflective space. There's no pressure to perform. We're not going to try to fix anything and everything. And there is no right answer as well. You're invited to participate in a way that feels supportive to you today, whether it's speaking, listening, or simply just noticing as well. So today's session, or Ask Her and Ask Him Anything, is centered on empowering leadership wellness. And I want to be clear from the start. Wellness is not a luxury or a side conversation. It's a leadership skill. It's how we sustain clarity, decision making, and trust over time. And why does this conversation matter? It's because so many leaders are operating in constant output mode. We're always giving, giving, go, go, go. We praise for resilience, but we rarely support in restoration. Like after a long day of productions and executions, we forget to actually allow ourselves to rest properly. So today is about pausing long enough to ask, what does leadership wellness actually look like in practice? So I'm extremely honored to also share with you the flow of the event. So here's how our time together is going to flow. We're going to begin with a guided conversation, followed by two short breakout experiences, and we'll close by coming back together to reflect and integrate the ideas and the concepts and some of the best practices that we've heard. This is designed to be experiential. You may want to have a pen and a paper nearby if there's some great ideas you want to write down, but it's also recorded for on demand. So don't worry if you want to just participate fully without worrying about the notes. Now, I would love to introduce you to our beautiful, wonderful partners and friends. I'm honored for us to be joined by two guided individuals who embodied leadership wellness in everything that we just talked about. So first, Michael Challenger. Michael brings a grounded embodied approach to leadership and wellness. His superpower is helping leaders slow down enough to reconnect with intention, presence, and energy. And we have Julie Danaylov. Julie is a master of connection. She really is. Trust and also human-centered leadership. Her work reminds us that when wellness doesn't live in isolation, and it shouldn't, it shows up in how we lead, relate, and create impact with others. So as a traditional question that we kick off with, as part of the introduction as well, is I would love for Julie and for Michael to answer, what does your seat look like today and how did it bring it you to here? We'll start with maybe Julie.
Thank you so much, Connie. And thank you, everybody who's watching this live and the recording. It is such an honor to be here. My seat at the table looks like a long journey of figuring out what puzzle pieces work for me in my life, in the events world, and of course outside of the events world, because a lot of us are coming to this table from different professions, or maybe you're like me and also from the events world. And burnout really was something I used as a badge of honor for a really long time until it didn't work anymore. And so I'll take you back about 14 years ago on an event site, doing my thing. We had 20 performers on site, 10 costume changes. It was insane. And anyways, suffice to say, I ended up in an ambulance. And I remember laying there looking up at, the dear paramedics who were assisting me and thinking like, what am I doing? I'm not doing this right. And so hence started my wellness journey and really asking the question, what does wellness look like for me? And I just love that question because it's a constant journey of exploration, right? We never have a finite answer. It's never definitive. It really is progressive and changes as we change, as our circumstances change, as our journey in this beautiful one and only precious life changes. Our body changes, all the things. It always is going to look different, but it's really critical to continue to ask the question, what does wellness look like for me? And so what it looks like for me is all manner of things, of course, just like it is for you. And essentially my energy. I want to have best energy always. And so for me, my orientation around wellness and the puzzle pieces that are going to interlock in a way that's the most productive is how is this dialing in my energy so I can feel best for me and also show up for my best for others. So that would be my seat at the table. And of course, I'm going to turn it over to my amazing friend and partner in crime, Michael, to share his as well.
Thank you so much, Julie, and thank you so much, Connie, for beautiful introduction. I really am honored to really be here today to share some of the things that I've learned along the way and to really, have people really dive deeper into what it means for them. So my seat at the table actually is specifically if I'm talking about being at a table with women has been unbelievable. Being raised by a single parent, a woman who has taught me how to be strong and how to nurture has been 100% a skill and tool that I use in business. And specifically as a male in the world where we're not necessarily taught to nurture, I've had to really uh, work on myself to listen and hear whether it's friends, family, or business relationships to really make the right approach based off of what I'm hearing. So I've mentioned to you in the past and with this community that my superpower is listening, and I get a lot of value in it. So my seat at the table with women has been unbelievably powerful, and it's shaped me in many ways. So yeah, that's my answer.
Thank you, Michael and Julie, for sharing how you got here. What I really love is that we all have a journey. And I think the next session that we have is I'm going to pass it over to Michael to lead a reframing leadership wellness because I think it's important, especially with the work that you do already around your community and around Optimal Living Summit. It's helping people understand what does it actually mean to have wellness as a leader. So I'll pass it over to you to continue the great conversations we want to have.
Yes, thank you so much, Connie. And so the as Connie mentioned today, is that this is an invitation for people to actually really look at yourself. There's no pressure here. This is, if you are looking at this recording, and for the people that are here, if you can take out, a piece of paper and a pen, so that you write down specifically what you want for 2026, really setting the tone. Today is January 28th. And so I don't know if most of you know this, that, January 18th is when most people give up on their New Year's resolution. So it is something to, if you're still on it, congratulations. And if not, this is a great reminder as to really kickstarting this year so that you actually have absolute success. So, this is, the beginning of the dialogue, really, again, setting the intention of where we can go together as a collective, not alone, right? Leadership in many ways. And when I teach or talk to other people, that how do we start to reframe this idea of having to be in our own silo, leading the way? What does it mean to partner with the right companies? Conscious businesses are really, really important for me. Leadership is not just Michael Challenger going in and doing his rah-rah thing. That's not what I do. I really am curious about what are they thinking, where do they want to go, and how can we support each other so that we all win in the end. Really, it's what the thing I believe in the world is what we're missing. And specifically with the type of energy that's happening in the world right now, and war and destruction, we need to be the lighthouses. We need to be able to set the tone so that people follow how we lead in the world. So the first question I really want to look at together is, what does leadership truly mean, for all of us as a collective? And I think, Julie, I'd love to invite you with this question because, we've known each other for quite some time now, and being in the room with you is obviously is an honor. So what does it mean for you today when it comes to leadership in your business?
Thank you so much, Michael. Yes, definitely for me, when it comes to leadership in our business and wellness, as a very important companion, is that you have to lead by example. Our people will, it's not do as I say, not as I do. It needs to be, you need to actually model it in your day to day. And as somebody who is so fortunate to have teams of people around me at any given time, really they look to us more than we think. And even maybe if you're not somebody who is a leader in a leadership position right now, as far as lots of people that you are either managing or on your staff or what have you, even if you're somebody who's just starting out in whatever profession you happen to be in, when you lead yourself, it is contagious, it is infectious. People are attracted to the vibration that you bring into the room. It's like Winfrey always says, you are responsible for the energy you bring into the space. Right. And it's so true. We are responsible. And how do we direct the energy? We have to think about our wellness. How do we think about our wellness? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today, and what that looks like for you. So, definitely for me, if I'm not showing up in authenticity, in alignment, then people can see, they notice my energy, and immediately it's like, what's wrong, right? Because I didn't look after myself that day, or I didn't do something that I know I needed to do for that day. So it's so funny because you get that immediate feedback, or at least that's been my experience. And so I think it's so critical to lead yourself first, because that actually is the example of leadership. And whether you have team now or later or what have you, it shows up even in your family. My goodness. I mean, it's extraordinary. Your children, they see you, they copy you, your nieces and nephews, and so it's really remarkable the kind of impact that we can have on those around us. So never think for one second, oh, what I do doesn't matter. It truly does when it comes to your well-being, because people take notice and you need to lead by example. So that's what I would say to that, Michael.
I love that. I love that. And I think that what's really great for, again, to get everybody in the space of reflection is that, when Julie or myself, we talk about the idea because we never arrive, right? We really have this moment of, what is the consistency that you have in your own life so that you are getting the results that you're seeking in your life. And so, as Julie's mentioning, and something that I, want to speak about is like, are you taking the time to pause and reflect? Are you actually giving your time to, if you are in a space of leadership, how do you take care of yourself? So I'm going to give you an example. On January 2nd of this year, I went to, I don't work for them, and maybe one day I'll have a partnership with them at some point. But if you've heard of Thermia Spa Village in Whitby, beautiful, beautiful spot. And it was a great opportunity for me to make sure that I start my year in a spa with good food, with a massage, so that I can kickstart January really strong. And so that was intentional in 2025. As I ended the year strong, it was, what am I doing for myself to make sure that I can hold space for my clients, for leaders? So I think the question is for, if you are listening, really think about, how are you doing that throughout the year? I made it a point for myself to make sure that I'm getting a massage every month. Once a month, I will be getting a massage to reset how I show up in the world. So this is where, taking responsibility of, wellness and leadership is not just about showing up and directing, right? It's are you aware of how you're showing up as a leader? Are you taking care of yourself as a leader is the key. So I love it because it's, let's be honest, there's so many benefits when you take care of yourself, but everybody around you in your environment is happier. It's not just about you. Right. So as Julie was mentioning as well, whether you're leading your team, whether it's your family, they're happier with you around because you've made it a point to take care of yourself. So I think, and again, what Connie was saying in the beginning, it's a non-negotiable, right? It's not something where it's like, yeah, maybe I should. No, we all need to make this world a better place. So pausing and resetting is really key. And maybe, before I move on, do you want to say anything as well, Julie, about that?
I just love everything you said. So everything's like, yes, 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 high five. So, so good. And I think it is a great quote comes to mind, which is from James Clear. And if anybody has read the book Atomic Habits, it's extraordinary. I highly recommend it. And he says, we never rise to the level of our potential. We always default to the level of our systems. So we never rise to the level of our potential. We will always default to the level of our systems. So what is your system for success? How do you set yourself up for success? What proactively can you do? Are you doing? And should you do? Just like Michael's example about, I'm starting the year like this because I know I need, or the massage example, brilliant, already pre-booked. Here we go. High five. Let's go. I need this, right? I think also too, the very important piece, sometimes we get it wrong, or at least I have in the past, around like, this is not a luxury. When you get sick and something happens, in that moment that you neglecting what you needed to do, now it's priority, right? And so you don't need to get to the I'm in an ambulance situation. Like, you don't, right? Some of us do, obviously, but like, please don't be me. Like, Be you, and on the front end, and you'll see it costs you so much more on the back end if you don't have your systems, if you don't have your plan, if you don't do the things that you need to do to set yourself up for success. So thanks so much, Michael, for letting me add, because I agree. It is absolutely non-negotiable.
Yeah, and it's always something that I always in terms of reflection, because one of the things that I like to do for my life is meditation. Meditation for me keeps me grounded. It raises the vibration on how I approach my everyday tasks when doing anything, business, family. So how I start my day is really important. How I end it is equally important. So the funny thing, I tell people and I tell clients all the time, a meditation, yes, and people are like, oh, I don't know, I don't know if I can meditate. And so, I give them their, tips and ways of just actually being, you don't have to really, it doesn't have to be this, deep, you know, thinking of like you have to go on the top of the mountain to get the best results. It's really about just sitting with yourself and just being able to be quiet, right? If you have a family, if you're at home with, three, four individuals, wake up earlier than everybody else and just have that moment of silence so that you feel like you're in peace with yourself. But how I like to end my day and really, and when we get into when we step into the world of excellence, one of the people laugh all the time, but I like to flossing is my is how I feel like I'm ending my day on top, right? So it's so simple, but it's that moment where I'm flossing my teeth and just having this moment of, you know, I feel great. This is another version of me, just taking care of myself before I get the last thing before I go to bed. So, the simple things, it doesn't have to be grandiose. It really starts with yourself and you know, really it just means everything to me. So hopefully that works for you. But think about it. Think about what does that mean for you? Okay. Um, yeah. So if we, move on to really setting the intentions for the new year, this is where I really want us to start thinking about, you know, how are you the best version of yourself? Like what does, when you're setting the intention, what does the best version of yourself look like? So I just want to open up the chat to Lucas Mann.
Yep. Hi.
Hi, how are you? So I
Um,
just want to, so happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too.
So far for you, what does wellness mean for you? I just like to sometimes open up the chat before we continue. How do you feel about wellness? Is it something that you feel like you need to really work on? Are these some new concepts that you're hearing for the first time?
Um, I love the concept of holistic wellness. That what do with my business as well. Because I take care of people with the nutrition, but I also like approach any conflict or problem with like the holistic care. Mm. And I think even I approach only a nutrition perspective, but I have to think about person as a whole, as their holistic everything and their wellness as well. Because everything in their life is affect how they eat, how they have behavior for sure.
Love that. Love that. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
I'm quite familiar with the wellness things.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And you're obviously the perfect person to be here because holistically is the approach that we're talking about, really looking at the fullness of how we approach when with dealing with anything in our lives. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing. I always like to just connect with people as we're going through the workshop so that we can hear the different voices and hear, how people are using it, this concept for themselves. Okay, so I want to just, before we dive a little bit deeper, I want to just read a very, very famous quote by he was a Buddhist. His name was Daisaku Ikeda. And the quote that I really love is very simple. It's quote, a new day is like a blank book. The secret of success is in turning the pages wisely, end quote. So really wisdom, right? So today, if you are writing things down, this is an opportunity for you to go back and to see what is coming out of you organically, authentically, so that you can reflect and go back and really keep at the level of the standards that you want for your own self. This isn't about anybody else. Okay. This again, Julie and I are here to support Connie. This whole community is about supporting so that, and I would love to check in before the end of the year, see where everybody has gone, because I really do believe the conversation should continue. Okay. So the beauty about this is really, again, it's for yourself. So there's no pressure. Again, this is an invitation. This is your moment. All right. So I just want to take some time to just get grounded and ask everybody to close their eyes. Just going to ask everybody to inhale and exhale. Ask you to inhale one more time and exhale. So the question is, how do you want to feel this year? I know that for myself, how I want to feel is excellent in anything that I do as a leader. The feeling of excellence is how I want to end my day. So I just want to open up that for, I'll start with you, Julie. How do you want to feel as a leader this year?
I want to feel strong, capable, and energetic. I really want to make sure that energy is firing there because for me, again, the energy is so infectious and palpable, I think, certainly. So, really being mindful around that and strong in my emotional, but also physical core, which I think is very important. And then capable, not doubting that I can do it. Right. And that's, of course, we're always, and I think meditation is very powerful for that. Right. It's like, I can. Right. And even when you have should I, do I have, and just being able to dial that up because also that impacts your energy, how you show up. When you show up, I'm capable. Here we go. Right. That's a totally different thing. Like, not sure, maybe, like it has a different vibration altogether. So that's what I would say.
I love that. I'm going to ask Connie the same question, right? How do you want to feel uh, this year, Connie?
I'm gonna share a reflection as well. I think for me, 2025 has been a year of extreme focus, intention, and clarity, which I think for the entire professional career that I've had over 20 years of leadership, I've never had before. So coming into 2026, I want to protect that.
Mm,
And protecting that for me is also looking at what do I need to do so that I can create sustainability from a financial perspective to take on more that makes sense, but at the same time, not lose everything that I've worked so hard to gain. So I think boundary setting has been really important, but it's also making sure that people that are potentially looking at me to hire me for projects or contracts or whatever it is, they don't feel threatened that I'm not saying no. I'm just saying I can do this, but it needs to be respected so that I can give my best energy to do things without overstretching it. I think it's hard. Like my biggest fear I would share as well from a wellness and leadership perspective is as a high performing leader and a lot of job posting out there is always like promoting and asking you to like has to be fast paced. You have to be like excellent and fast paced. Like what does that actually mean? I don't work at a fast pace. I work at a steady pace and I get things done with excellence and a steady pace.
I love that. I love that. And it's um, as you're mentioning this idea of being in a space of chaos, because let's be honest, when I think the people who are part of this community and the world of events, and event planners that I coach, usually energetically, chaos is usually the first thing that they talk about. We're feeling like I just don't have time. I just don't have time to take care of me. So this added, here's the thing about, yes, I know fatigue is a thing, but we can always find time. We really can. And it's up to us to take responsibility to see how our lives are going to unfold for the rest of the year. So thank you so much, Connie, for sharing that because I think it's very helpful. So I just want to, in terms of if everybody has a pen and paper, if we can all write this down because I do think it's very, very powerful and helpful. You don't have to, but the invitation is to write down dreams become real through specific actions. What are your non-negotiables? So I'm going to repeat that. Dreams become real through specific actions. What are your non-negotiables? And I take this very, very seriously because most of us put our dreams to the side. And there's nothing more, you know, depressing or just sad to watch somebody who you know who has a lot of potential to not follow through. So this is where we really, this conversation is about structure. What are your non-negotiables? What are you willing to do to make sure that you execute exactly what you want so that within the world that you're in, that you're able to handle it all? Okay. So, but it always comes back down to self. So I want to look at a couple of key things for us to really, this is, this is the idea of how do I take more responsibility, Michael? How do I shift what I'm doing? Okay. So I want us to look at just three different areas within us that I'd like for us to look at. Okay. So the first one is internal. Okay. I want you to look at one internal action that you're willing to shift in your life. So example, it could be your mindset. It could be your health. It could be the boundaries that you need to set in your life. It could be faith. Those are some examples. Okay. So, but what, in terms of your internal dialogue that nobody sees, that you wake up with always feeling anxious or feeling like, I'm not enough, or where is, I always go back to the idea of, all of us have some version of trauma that we're not facing. And it's okay. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It's just as long as we are aware of it, we can actually come up with better solutions. Okay, so that's one thing I'd like to look at internally. All right. The second thing is the external results, the action that one needs to take within your life. What is that? And that could be now in your career. That can be finances, as Connie was mentioning, leadership, visibility. Do you need to be seen more? Do you need to use your voice more? Do you need to communicate so that you get better results? What are some of the things that you can, from your own life, contribute to the external benefits that you can get in your life? And I love this because, some people equate this to like, oh, do I have to always go so deep? Well, in order to break through, you got to know what's going on, right? So there's just no point of, so we're in the, again, we are seekers in this room. We are trying to make a difference within the space that we're in. Okay. And the last thing I want to ask everybody is that what is the one courageous action that you're willing to make for 2026? Just one, not asking for 10, but I want a very specific, courageous action that will contribute to your dreams. So it's an invitation to be bold. It's an invitation to be somebody that you're discovering this year. Okay. So, is everybody okay with that? Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So, I am going to move on into the breakout rooms. Okay. So the conversation for the breakout room is the best year of your life. Okay. And the question is, when we, in our conversation is, what does the best year of your life actually look like? So even if you're not clear about it, even if you're not sure, just describe it. Your version of happiness, your version of transformation. What does that look like for you? But if we can tap into the imagination now, anything is possible. And yes, it will take work, but describing it will help you have access to your dreams, to leadership, to wellness. Okay. So whenever you're ready, we can definitely break out and have that conversation. But I think it's enough for us to start with where we're going.
Michael, let's stay here for the breakout because I think it's intimate enough where we can have enough time to share as well, if that's okay. But you
That's
can
great.
continue leading the conversation. And what's beautiful is those that are watching, they'll get to actually hear and listen and be part of the breakout experience as well.
I love that. I love that. Okay. Um, so I mean, I can do. Well, actually, you know what, Julie? I'm going to start with you. Okay. So what does that? What does the best year of your life look like for this year? And again, I'm not asking for perfection, right? I'm just asking for just idea of like really being able to uh, share your truth.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much, Michael, for the invitation to be bold. And I'm going to use an example from the area of finances. Okay. So I, up until last year, didn't use, I don't believe, strong enough language around the value of what it is that we offer. And when I started actually stepping outside of what I would have considered my comfort zone as far as critical conversations with clients and naming exactly the value in an unapologetic way and in a way that is kind and clear, I saw shifts that I didn't think were possible. And so building on that momentum of like, oh my God, like, and I was, I was thinking that that was minor, but it made such a huge difference in terms of the impact we were able to make, the people we were able to employ. Like the impact was so big because I got out of my comfort zone and named the value of where we truly should be. And so for me, there's a notch up from that for sure. The value that I think there's another level that's above that. So I'm going there because I saw the impact. And, it's so funny because I guess maybe it's just the way I was brought up, or maybe just being a woman, et cetera. Shrinking sometimes it was just my default mode as far as sharing things like pricing, sharing things like scope, sharing things like perspective of how it looks like for our team, and being very transparent about the volume of work people ask us to do. And I just found, yeah, I finally, after 16 years in business, feel like I found a stride, but I have to keep pushing the envelope on my comfort zone there because it capped us for a very, very long time. And I'm done. I'm done being capped because I can see how fruitful my bravery can be for so many people, not just for me, right? So that's where I'm going with. If this looks like the best year ever, I'm bold in all the conversations. I'm authentic in all the conversations. I'm sharing the value and the truth with transparency and kindness and clarity. And if it's not for others, that's okay. But I'm telling them what it takes for us to engage with them on a professional level. So anyways, sorry, it's a little bit long-winded, but I wanted to share a finance example because that's an area that has been something that I've been held back by personally, and perhaps others have felt the same way.
Yeah, no, and thank you for saying that because specifically in the wellness space, this is where a lot of people have a lot of things come up for them, right? When we're holding space for other people, when we're trying to contribute to society, there's not necessarily value there, and so we have to really come in with our own self-worth to be able to keep the bar specifically where we want. So I think a lot of people will resonate with that. I can definitely resonate with that. With when you're contributing and you walk away and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, I just gave away, 2, 3 hours of my time, but I wasn't compensated for all the work that I've done. So I think it's what you said, extremely valuable. So thank you so much for sharing, Julie. Connie, how about yourself? What would you describe the best year of your life this year?
I'm just nodding everything Julie said because I think it really resonates with how I want my successful 2026 to look like is one we have high bars and expectations for ourselves, but we need to hold that mirror and turn it to the people we want to work with as well. Because if they don't align to my values, my mission, why am I lowering my bars to work with people that will not respect me, value me the same way? So for me, I think the biggest thing that I can do as a big win is continuing to say, hey, if you want to work with me, these are my values, be very upfront and honest. Does it align with you? And if it doesn't, me holding my boundaries very firm to say thank you, but no thank you. But the bigger win that I really want is finding more awesome people like you two that align with my value that we can work with.
Love that. Thank you so much. Very, very, very powerful, Connie. And again, it really comes down to, again, in the shift, we're talking about a world that, makes money off of very dark energy, chaos, destruction, right? So in order for us to really, for people to start to see where are these lighthouses, we have to be firm in our communication to make sure that we get exactly what we want, and in turn help to, potentially shift them or guide them in a new direction. So really, really great. I'm gonna open it up to Lucas Lucasman, sorry.
Yes. Um, my best year this year's.
Yeah, yeah. So if you were to describe, right, what would 2026 look like? If this was the best year in your life, what would that look like for you?
I want it to be the year that I go out of comfort zone as much as I can, doing a new thing, meet a lot of people. I think that's I pushing my business out there, so I think that's really important. I'll do more on like workshop, and I just got invitation to be a speaker. So that's great that like I walk out of my comfort zone again, and I want to do it again and again and again this year.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's my year that I want to do.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, and the fact of practicing, obviously, as you mentioned, speaking so that you feel more comfortable speaking
Mhm.
to audiences. But this idea of networking and showing up is the key. I really believe that the more you show up and find your people, right? At the end of the day, as we're building our tribes, we still need to be out there to really find and connect to the people that
Mhm.
align with our values. So I really love that. So I'm wishing you nothing but the best for 2026 in your endeavors and your business, holistic nutritionist. I'm very proud and excited for you, and I think it's going to be a wonderful year for you. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, and I guess I'll end the question with myself with one of the things for myself is asking for help. I always I've been a in my mind a protector and always kind of just doing. And so for 2026, it's really about again the collaborations, really looking at okay, how can we support each other so that we are making a difference together collectively. It's always been uh, a thing that I've struggled with is to just say, is it okay if just asking has always been an issue. So I know some people have no problems with it and yay to you, but for me, it's always been a thing. So 2026 looks like more of just, being vulnerable. I think that's that's big for me. And of course, in my close, with people that I love and respect, vulnerability is not a problem. But I think it's even when I'm out there, it can be also very powerful because people relate to you when you're vulnerable and they can actually see you and meet you where you're at. So, yeah. How are we doing with time? Are we, do we need to go into the next breakout? I think so, yeah.
Yep, we're pretty good on time right now. We still have about 18 minutes left.
Excellent. Okay, great. Really, really great. Um, So I guess I'll pass it over to Julie um, for the next breakout session.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so when it comes to our gosh, I love the energy conversation always because it starts internally, right? So our internal leadership wellness. Um, I think there's some really important questions when we're looking at those beautiful questions that actually Michael gave us previously, internally, what's one action you need to shift internally, right? So why don't we go ahead and actually take a second to go ahead and write down what that looks like for us? Because this is so important, right? What we gosh, I really believe what we attract into our world, into our existence, is who we are. And so being intentional around all of what's happening inside. It's so funny. I had a business coach say to me once, "You're getting the exact objection that you're thinking in your head." And I was like, oh my gosh, right? Like, because I'm thinking it, they're saying it, right? Like, hilarious. And so, what a shift internally, right? And so like going, yes, that's an objection. And, and then thinking through proactively, okay, but like, how can I help dismantle that just so that they can see what I'm offering is going to be of help to them, right? And so it completely shifted my internal dialogue around objections, right? And so for you internally, whatever it happens to be, whatever area of life, really looking at what is it for you? What is that one action you need to shift for you this year in 2026 so that it is your best year ever? Why don't we go ahead and take literally 60 seconds and we can time it for you to write that down. And of course, you're welcome to share either verbally afterwards or in the chat, whatever comes up for you, because yeah, let's just take 60 seconds of a pause to answer that question. One action you need to shift internally for 2026 to be your best year ever. Okay, we're at the 1 minute mark, friends. So, what came up for you? Was it something you'd like to share verbally or in the chat? Please feel free. Again, it's an open invitation. There's no pressure, of course, but internally, what is that for you? What's that unlock, right? Because all of us have a different level, all of us have a next level, and it starts from within. So, if anybody would like to share, I welcome you to do that now.
I'll
Yeah, yeah,
share. For me, I wrote down feeling like I have to do it all alone. I think often as leaders, sometimes if your team members don't have the capacity or they feel overloaded, you take it on and you already have your own to-do list and then it adds up and like, wait a minute, who can I like allow to help me? But realizing the mind shift from that I have to do it all to say, hey, who's around me that can support me? And exactly what you had shared, you and Michael earlier, to say the permission to feel that we can raise our hand and ask for help. It is the biggest mind shift that I need to continue to allow myself to say, it's not just all on you, Connie. It's a community. Let's let our community know that we need help and allow them to help.
love that. Love that. I can jump right in. I think that what's key in business for me is to always stay in alignment with my communication, stay in alignment with being authentic in my communication, to be very specific. Because at times when things come up, if you know I have a certain agenda or there's something that I would like or need, and then all of a sudden it goes another direction, and I allow that to happen, that isn't in my authenticity. So it's to be able to make sure that let's get, we I always want to leave. a meeting on the same page with the other person so that we feel in alignment together and that it's crystal clear moving forward. So I think authentic communication is that's my answer.
So beautiful because that is a internal shift, Michael. So that's so beautiful. And Sharon, yes, absolutely. Please feel free to share, darling.
For me, both I agree with both what Connie and Michael said. For me, since I started my own business, I think I kind of stopped trusting other people with the work. And even though I had a team, I have a partner, I'm still running around all over the place trying to do everything by myself without communicating to them what needs to be done. And I get frustrated, like, why is my team not doing anything? But then I started realizing it. Oh my God, it's actually my fault. I don't communicate with them. I don't even let them know what my expectation is. And then the problem is me. So I started taking deep breaths and I'm very mindful about communicating with them, letting them know what is to be done. And I have started dividing the work accordingly.
We're so proud of you, Sharon. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is a life upgrade right there. And actually, a book that may be helpful is Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. Dare to Lead by Brené
Okay.
Brown. Excellent read. I think those of us who have a hard time, because I'm with you right there, like it's like, fine, I'll do it, like whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but that makes it so that nobody can help you the next time, every time we do that,
Right.
right? Because we've not
Mhm.
empowered others to assist. So yeah, Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. I think you'll that would really resonate with you, darling.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, and I just want to actually just kind of piggyback to what Julie was saying is, Sharon, it's really wonderful because again, I think that when you shifted the responsibility back to yourself, right, versus looking at your environment and blaming other people, you realize that, oh wow, I have need to take responsibility on delegation. How do I delegate so that and trusting the people that you hire to be a part of your organization, right? So there's a relationship there, right? And I think as leaders, we tend to, again, if we're not patient enough, it's like we just want to get into it and get it done. But there's so much room for self growth with your team. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Luxeman, you can go ahead, darling. Absolutely.
Okay. Um, I have a thought in my mind all the time especially when I'm not confident, feel not confident. Does my business idea might not good enough, or maybe it's unwanted in the market. So maybe it's too expensive or something like that. And I just put it out, not fixing it, just blur it or something like that. So now I want to shift that mindset to be like what value I can add to match that the offer. So like shift the focus from that thought to the thing that I can do more. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that you said that, Luxeman, because that was my problem too, right? I got the exact objection that I was thinking in my head. It's too expensive. It's not the right time. They don't, whatever, like whatever that is. And then of course, that's what comes out of their mouth afterwards, right? Because I'm attracting that exact thing because I'm thinking it, right? And so I think it's really powerful. Yeah, the having that internal shift and then shifting over to so the value of what it is that you're offering. And actually, you'll see it's cheap. Like what they get, like when you start listing all of the benefits of them looking after themselves, you're going to see that whatever that price is, it's not, it's literally priceless, right? So you can dial up your value so then what you're actually offering looks priceless to the person at the end. That's a game changer also too. I'll just give you a very quick example. I was on an event site last year, and I remember it was a huge event, one of the biggest in my entire career. And the planner came up to us afterwards and said, I just feel like we didn't pay you enough for all of this. And it was a higher price than we had ever charged for anything ever, like the history of the whole company, 16 years. Can you imagine? And I'm thinking to myself, see, in her mind, our value is so much more than what we actually charged. And that was the goal, right? Like you want people to think, oh my God, I got way more than I thought, right? And so I'm so it was such a, and again, just internally, because I had done the inner work of like, oh, the value is through the roof. So that's actually that price is negligible, right? And so do that work for yourself and really take the time to show all the ways in your mind of like, this is going to be priceless for my client. And we're so proud of you for doing that work. And so thank you for helping people in their wellness. It's huge work, huge.
Really great. Thank you, Julie. So I just want to, we're going to come to the close for the actual for the meeting today, and I just wanted to ask anybody in the room if you're willing to share a moment, an aha moment for yourself with what we've discussed today. Did anything ring true to you? Just a new insight? What what are you walking away with today?
I can go. I everything you guys said resonated with me. Particularly that like I should change my mindset for this new year to stop doubting myself and trust that I can do good work. So you guys were talking about leadership, so I feel like my aha moment was like I need to be able to lead myself better without the doubt that I will carry from 2025 to 2026. So that was my aha moment.
Yes, Aaron, I love that. That's really great. It's and again, right? This is something that I think every leader, depending on the space that you walk into, and again, as Julie was mentioning, every single one of us in this room have moments where we question your self-worth, but having to stand by it is the key, so that you can actually have your personal breakthroughs and have the moment where Julie is mentioning where the breakthrough is, wow, this person actually sees my value and more. And so there's nothing, what a great gift. So I just even want to congratulate you, Julie, on the fact that it's, this is completely in alignment with what you're achieving in your business. I just want to read something to all of you. I wrote something that I think would be very helpful. It was something, I journal quite a bit, and I just want to share you just, an authentic share before we come to an end. So, this is for all of us to just, again, where do you see yourself with this? So the future isn't something we wait for, it's something we build in the present through the choices we make right now. That means staying open to growth, even when the path isn't clear, and staying true to who we are and when it would be easier to perform or please. Progress doesn't come from chasing perfection, it comes from choosing alignment with our values, our energy, and our purpose again. When we live this way, fully present and deeply intentional, the future stops being a source of anxiety and starts becoming a natural extension of who we are becoming. Okay, so I just, it's something that, anyway, it was something I'm a free writer in that way. And I just felt like this, again, is part of what I'd like to share and impart with people that I'm working with, because this really, again, it comes back down to how authentic we can be in our space. And as powerful women, right? I really, really am cheering all of you on in this space when it comes to her seat at the table. You have no idea what this means to me to be able to see, because the world needs more female leaders. Period. Like, I don't know, I know there's other men that share the same values as myself. I know, I get into the conversation with women all the time, but it's just time. So, I'm really if you're watching this, I'm cheering you on, and I truly hope that you win. And last but not least, before I want to read one more thing. This is for everybody as well. It's by Daisaku Keita. I love this Buddhist thinker. He's really amazing. He says, one person is not simply one person. One person's power can reach far beyond that single life. A human being's unrevealed potential is boundless and inexhaustible. So just thank you all for being here today. I'm wishing you all, an incredible 2026. And thank you so much, Connie. I'm really honored to be in the space with all of you. And thank you, Julie, for being a great partner in crime and sharing this space with me.
Thank you, Michael. Julie, do you have any final words before I wrap up?
I do not. Just let's make it our best year ever, everybody. Okay. 2026 equals our best year ever. And we believe in you and your success.
Beautiful. Michael, Julie, Lucasam, Sharon, Aaron, thank you for being here with us live. And for everyone that's watching on demand, thank you. I want to recap to say that leadership does not require a title. If you haven't heard that through the conversations, that's the aha moment. Your wellness is every day. How are you showing up to empower yourself and also be the leader that people want to follow and to trust and to work with? So thank you for being here, whether you're live or on demand, and we hope to welcome you back for our next continued series of the aha moments that we want to have together. So thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael and Julie. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Have a nice day.